Part 1 begins far back in ancient times, when humans lived in small tribes and used stone tools. Among one of those tribes lived a young girl named Isla. She was different from the others. She was fast, clever, and brave, but that was not what made her special. Since she was a child, she heard strange whispers in her dreams, soft voices, like wind across distant mountains. Nobody believed her stories, but she always felt that someone out there was trying to speak to her. One night, the sky changed forever. A huge, shining object appeared, bright like a second moon. It moved slowly, silently, above the mountains. People in her tribe screamed and ran inside their huts. Warriors grabbed spears. Children cried. The tribe leader thought the gods were angry. But Isla didn't run. She felt the same strange whisper from her dreams growing louder, calling her name. She stepped out of her hut and stared at the glowing shape. It was not a star. It was not a spirit. It was something made of metal, something alive with light. The object moved down from the sky and stopped above the open field. It was a ship, an alien ship. No human had ever seen anything like it. The air shook. Dust lifted from the ground. Animals ran away. When the ship landed, the tribe stood frozen. The warriors raised their spears, ready to fight. But Isla felt calm. She felt like she had been waiting for this moment her whole life. A door opened with a loud hiss, and tall figures stepped out. Their skin shone like silver. Their eyes glowed faint blue. They walked slowly, not like enemies but like beings exploring something new. The tribe panicked. Some dropped their weapons. Others hid behind stones and trees. The alien leader stepped forward. He raised his hand, and a soft wave of energy stopped the warriors from attacking. The aliens did not speak with their mouths. Instead, a gentle voice echoed inside Isla's mind. It said, "We have found you." Isla didn't understand how she knew, but she felt the words clearly. The aliens were not looking for her tribe. They were looking for her. The tribe leader shouted at Isla to come back, but she did not move. Her feet felt pulled toward the ship. She slowly walked forward. Her heart beat fast, yet she felt no fear. The crowd watched in silence. Even the warriors took a step back. When Isla came close, the alien leader studied her carefully. Then, to everyone's shock, he bowed his head to her. A glowing symbol appeared on his chest, like a sign of respect. Isla didn't know it yet, but the aliens, called the Viron, had searched many planets for a being like her. They believed humans carried something rare inside their minds, a strong emotional power, pure instinct, and the ability to shape the future in ways even advanced species could not predict. Isla had the strongest of this energy among all humans of her age. The tribe begged her not to go. Her mother cried and tried to pull her back. But the alien leader touched Isla's shoulder gently, and Isla felt something warm and peaceful inside her. She whispered to her mother, "I will come back. I promise." The aliens guided her up the ramp into the ship. The tribe watched helplessly. The door closed. The lights grew brighter. With a deep rumble, the ship rose into the air and shot upward into the night sky. In seconds, it became a bright star. Then it vanished completely. The tribe believed she was gone forever. Some said the gods took her. Some said monsters stole her. Others said she would return with great powers. But no one knew the truth. Inside the ship, Isla sat quietly, confused but curious. The walls were made of smooth silver metal, glowing softly. There were strange screens showing moving stars. The air smelled clean and fresh, unlike anything on Earth. The alien leader introduced himself using a device that translated thoughts. His name was Saren. He told Isla that the Viron had been watching Earth for many thousands of years. They watched human evolution, human courage, human struggles. They believed humans could one day become a powerful species across the stars. Isla asked why they chose her. Saren explained that Isla's mind was stronger and more open than normal humans. Her dreams, her visions, and her courage made her the perfect link between two worlds. She was chosen for something far greater than she could imagine. Isla stared at the stars through a window. She felt small, yet strangely important. She didn't know what awaited her, but she felt she had stepped onto a path that would change the future of humanity. Saren then showed her a star map. One of the glowing lines pointed to Earth. Another pointed to a dark, red region far away. Saren's face grew serious. He explained that another alien empire, the Morak, feared humans. They believed humans might one day become stronger than them. So they planned to destroy Earth before that future arrived. Isla's heart sank. Her people, her home, her entire world all in danger. Saren placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "You can stop this. You can protect your people. You can help us speak for Earth." Isla didn't understand everything, but she understood one thing clearly. She had a purpose. She was no longer just a young girl from a small tribe. She was now something else, Earth's first ambassador to the stars. And her journey had only begun. Isla woke the next morning inside the Viron ship with a strange feeling. The room was quiet, bright, and warm. She slowly sat up and looked around. There were no wooden walls, no animal skins, no sounds of her tribe. Everything was metal, glowing softly with blue light. She felt like she was inside a dream, yet everything was real. Saren entered the room and gave her a calm smile. His voice echoed inside her mind again, not through ears, but through thoughts. He told her that today she would learn about the Viron world and understand why she had been chosen. Isla followed him through wide silver corridors. She saw machines she could not understand, floating panels, moving lights, and doors that opened without touch. They reached a large hall where the Viron Council waited. They were tall, elegant beings with blue eyes that shone like stars. Isla felt nervous. She was just a girl from a small tribe. Why would great alien leaders want to speak with her? Saren encouraged her to stand confidently. She took a deep breath and looked at the council. One of the leaders spoke gently into her mind, saying they were proud to meet her. They had studied thousands of human minds, but Isla's mind was different. Stronger, brighter, more focused. They believed humans had a future far greater than even the Viron could imagine. Isla was confused, but she listened carefully. The council leader showed her a memory screen. It played images from Earth. Humans hunting, building fires, protecting their families, fighting enemies, and never giving up. The leader told her that even when humans were weak, they always survived impossible things. That courage, that instinct, made humans special. Then Isla saw a new image, a shadowy red world filled with brutal creatures. The leader explained that the Morak Empire feared humans. They believed humans would one day become powerful enough to challenge them. So the Morak planned to destroy Earth before humans learned to fight back. Isla felt anger rise inside her. Her tribe, her family, her people. None of them knew what danger was coming. They lived simple lives with no idea that monsters from the stars wanted them gone. She turned to the council and spoke bravely. She said she wanted to help protect her people. Her voice shook lightly, but her eyes were firm. The Viron leaders looked at each other, impressed by her courage. One of them stepped forward and placed a glowing bracelet on her wrist. It tightened gently, merging with her skin. The leader explained that this device would help her communicate, learn faster, and control her energy. It was Isla's first gift from the stars. Saren then guided her to a training room. The walls adjusted themselves as she walked in. The room changed shape like it was alive. Saren told her the Viron would teach her everything: how to speak their language, how to understand alien technology, how to defend herself, and how to represent Earth. Isla spent hours learning. She watched as symbols appeared in the air, glowing softly. The bracelet helped her understand them quickly. She learned how to focus her mind, how to calm her thoughts, and how to send messages using pure emotion. The Viron called it mind resonance. It was something only very few humans could naturally do. But Isla was a natural. She picked up every lesson faster than expected. Later, Saren introduced her to a group of young Viron cadets. They were training to become future leaders. At first, they did not know what to think of her. She was small, shorter than them, and came from a primitive world. But Isla surprised them. She solved puzzles they struggled with. She moved quickly during physical training. Her instincts were sharp, reacting before anyone else. The cadets slowly respected her. One day, while Isla and the cadets were practicing in a wide hall, an alarm suddenly rang. The lights turned red. The ship shook violently. A loud sound echoed through every wall. Saren rushed in with fear in his eyes, something Isla had never seen before. He told everyone that a Morak scout ship had found them. Isla felt cold fear running through her body. She had never seen an enemy from the stars. The cadets readied their weapons, standing in front of her. But Saren said she had to come with him. The Morak had detected her unique energy, and that meant she was their true target. As they ran through the corridors, the ship shook again. Isla saw sparks, broken panels, and Viron soldiers rushing toward the docking bay. She could hear deep roars from the enemy ship as it tried to attach itself to the Viron vessel. Saren tried to take Isla to a safe room, but the door suddenly exploded. A Morak creature stepped out. It was tall, armored, with red glowing eyes and sharp bone-like spikes on its arms. Isla froze. She had never seen anything so terrifying. The Morak raised a weapon at Saren. Without thinking, Isla grabbed Saren's arm and pulled him to the side. A bolt of red energy hit the wall behind them. Sparks flew everywhere. Isla's instincts took over. She grabbed a fallen Viron tool from the floor and threw it with all her strength. It hit the Morak's face, giving Saren enough time to activate a force barrier. The Morak screamed in rage as the barrier trapped it. Saren looked at Isla in shock. She had saved his life with simple human instinct. The Viron soldiers arrived and secured the area. Saren knelt beside Isla and said softly that her bravery proved something important. She was not just a chosen one. She was a protector, a true leader. At that moment, the council decided something historic. Isla would no longer be just a guest on their ship. She would become Earth's first official ambassador. And the Viron would protect Earth because Isla had shown them the strength of a human heart. Isla woke in the healing room the next day, her mind still replaying the attack. She remembered the Morak's red eyes, its roar, the explosion of the door. She remembered pulling Saren out of the way without thinking. She remembered the fear, but also the strange strength inside her that pushed her to act. Saren entered quietly. His expression was gentle but serious. He told her that the Viron Council wanted to show her something important, something ancient, something hidden from most of their people. Isla followed him through long silver corridors until they entered a massive chamber deep inside the ship. It was darker here, cold and silent. As they stepped in, glowing lights came alive on the walls, revealing huge circular carvings. Strange symbols, older than anything Isla had ever seen, covered the dome-shaped ceiling. Isla felt something strange. A soft echo inside her mind. A memory that wasn't hers. Saren explained that this room held the Viron's oldest records. They kept the history of their people and also the histories of species they watched. Isla stared at the symbols, trying to understand their meaning. Then Saren touched the wall, and a giant hologram lit up in the air. It showed Earth. Not the Earth she knew. This one was covered in glowing paths and strange lines that circled around the planet. Next, thousands of stars lit up around Earth, connecting to the planet like a web. Saren told her the truth. Long before human history, before tribes, before villages, the Viron had secretly visited Earth. They watched early humans learn to walk upright, make tools, fight predators, survive harsh weather. They saw something in humans that no other species had, a spark, a kind of wild potential. The screen changed again, showing a prophecy written in Viron symbols. It translated into simple words that made Isla freeze. The human starchild will decide the fate of galaxies. Isla stared at the words. They felt heavy, powerful, too big for her. She was just a girl from a hunting tribe. How could she decide the fate of anything? Saren explained that many Viron believed this prophecy was symbolic, but others believed it was real. They believed a human with strong instinct and a powerful mind would one day lead a great change in the galaxy. And the Morak, their ancient enemies, believed it too. That was why the Morak feared humans. That was why they wanted Earth gone before the prophecy could come true. Isla felt her heart beating fast. She didn't feel like a hero. She felt small, scared, and confused. She told Saren she wasn't special. She didn't even know how the alien tools worked. She didn't know how to fight. She didn't understand stars or galaxies. Saren placed a hand on her shoulder and told her something she never expected. You are not chosen because you know everything. You are chosen because you feel everything. Humans are powerful because they care deeply. Because they protect each other. Because they never give up. Isla looked away, unsure. She felt the weight of the prophecy crushing her. How could she protect Earth from armies she didn't understand? Suddenly, something else appeared on the screen. Ancient drawings from Earth. Cave paintings. Symbols made by early human tribes thousands of years ago. Isla gasped. Some of the symbols looked exactly like the Viron symbols around the room. How? She whispered. Saren said that early humans had seen Viron ships in the sky long ago. The Viron never took humans then, but their presence was remembered as gods, spirits, or star beings. Humans drew what they saw without understanding it. Those drawings had survived for ages. Isla slowly reached out and touched the hologram. She recognized one symbol. It looked just like the mark her tribe used to paint on warriors before a hunt. Her ancestors had seen the Viron. Her people were connected to the stars long before she was born. She felt her fear slowly change into determination. When she walked back through the corridors, she saw Viron citizens looking at her differently. Some bowed. Some stepped back, unsure. Some children giggled and stared, amazed at the young human ambassador. But not everyone was happy. Isla noticed a young Viron scientist, Laron, watching her with cold eyes. He didn't smile or nod. He didn't bow like others. He simply stared, his expression dark. Isla felt uneasy, but said nothing. That night, Isla stood at a window, looking out at the stars. She wondered if her people back on Earth could feel any of this. She wondered what her mother was doing. She wondered if her tribe still told stories about her. The door behind her opened softly. It was one of the Viron cadets, a girl named Sarah. She came to check on Isla. She said many Viron admired her bravery. But she also warned her that not all Viron wanted a human to have so much importance. Some feared the prophecy. Some believed humans were dangerous. Isla thanked her quietly. She understood now that her journey was not just about learning. It was about earning trust and proving her worth. She looked out again at the endless sky, feeling tiny but strangely powerful. She whispered to herself, I will protect them, all of them. But far away, in the shadow of the ship's engine room, someone else whispered too, Laron, the scientist with dark eyes. He opened a secret communication device and sent a signal into deep space. A signal to the Morak. And with that betrayal, Isla's real danger had only just begun. Isla didn't know that the message sent by Laron had already reached the Morak. She slept quietly in her room, thinking the Viron ship was safe. But far away in the darkness of space, Morak scouts changed their course. They had found her. They were coming. The next morning, Isla joined the cadets for training again. She was getting stronger, more confident. She could understand the Viron language better now, and she could sense emotions more clearly through the bracelet on her wrist. She didn't know it yet, but that same bracelet was the reason the Morak wanted her. The bracelet amplified her natural human energy, making her easier to detect. During training, Saren entered the hall with a serious expression. He told everyone that the ship had picked up strange signals that suggested the Morak were searching for them. The cadets tensed immediately. Their eyes shifted toward Isla. She felt the weight of their fear. Even though no one blamed her out loud, she could feel it. She was the reason danger kept following them. Saren asked her to stay close to him the whole day. He didn't say why, but Isla knew he was worried. The attack from yesterday had changed everything. Hours passed. The Viron ship moved quietly through space, trying to avoid detection. Isla sat in the observatory room, staring at the stars. They looked peaceful, calm, endless. But she knew something dangerous was hiding among them. Her chest felt tight. She wished she could warn her tribe about everything happening, but Earth was far away, too far. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Isla stood up. She felt something wrong in the air, like a ripple of darkness passing through the room. Saren's voice came over the comm system, telling all Viron to stay alert. Isla moved toward the door, wanting to find him, but before she could step out, she sensed a strange emotion nearby: anger, bitterness, jealousy. She turned. Laron was standing behind her. His expression was cold and twisted, nothing like the calm scientists she had met before. His eyes glowed with the faint red reflection of the alarms. Isla asked him what he was doing there. Her voice shook slightly, not out of fear, but out of confusion. Laron stepped closer, his face dark. He told her the truth. He had sent a message to the Morak. He had called them to the ship. Isla's heart dropped. She backed away slowly. She didn't understand. Why would a Viron betray his own people? Laron's answer was simple and cruel. Humans, he said, were dangerous. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were not noble or peaceful like the Viron. And yet the Council believed in them, believed in Isla. Laron said the prophecy scared him. He didn't want a human to change the galaxy. He didn't want a human to become someone important. He believed ending Isla's life would end the prophecy forever. Isla tried to speak, but Laron raised a small device. The room's lights died instantly. Darkness swallowed the corners. A sharp alarm rang across the entire ship. A Morak ship had arrived. The Viron ship shook violently as explosions echoed through the corridors. Isla could hear soldiers shouting, weapons firing, metal ripping apart. Laron took a step toward her, ready to deliver her to the Morak. But Isla ran. Bare feet slapping against the metal floor, she rushed down the corridor. Laron chased her, activating doors to close behind her. Isla squeezed through the narrowing gaps, her heart pounding. She wasn't strong like the Viron, but she was fast, faster than Laron expected. She dashed into the training hall just as another explosion rocked the ship. Viron soldiers rushed past her, moving toward the danger. Isla saw Saren across the hall. He yelled her name, running toward her. But Laron arrived behind her first. He grabbed her arm roughly. Isla gasped in pain. She tried to pull away, but Laron was stronger. He whispered that Morak hunters were already inside the ship and that they wanted her alive. Isla froze for a moment, fear gripping her chest. Saren reached them and struck Laron across the face, sending him to the ground. Laron tried to get up, but Saren kicked the device from his hand and bound his wrists with energy bands. His betrayal was clear. His punishment would be severe if they survived. Before Saren could say anything, the door burst open. A Morak warrior lunged inside, roaring with fury. Its armor glowed with red veins. Its claws extended. Soldiers fired energy shots, but the Morak deflected them with a shield. Isla felt her lungs tighten. She grabbed a fallen cadet's training staff and used it to push a young Viron girl behind her, saving her from the creature's strike. The Morak turned toward Isla instantly, like a predator recognizing its prey. Saren pulled Isla to the side and shouted for the cadets to retreat. But the exit behind them collapsed as another explosion hit the hall. Smoke filled the air. Fire sparked along the walls. The floor vibrated under their feet. They were trapped. Saren shouted over the noise that Isla had to escape, no matter what. She was too important. If the Morak captured her, Earth's future would be lost. Isla shook her head. She didn't want to leave anyone behind. But Saren grabbed her shoulders, his eyes full of pain. "You must live," he said. "You are Earth's voice. You are the bridge. Your hope." Then he pushed her toward the maintenance tunnel. Isla stumbled inside just as the Morak leaped toward them. Saren blocked it, activating an energy shield around the tunnel entrance. Isla screamed his name, but the door slid shut. She was alone. The ship burned around her. She crawled through the narrow tunnel as more explosions echoed. The Morak were breaking through every barrier. Laron's betrayal had destroyed their safety. Isla reached the escape pod bay trembling. She didn't want to leave the Viron behind. But Saren's words replayed in her mind. She had to survive. With tears in her eyes, she climbed into a pod. She pressed the launch button. The pod shot into the darkness of space just as the Viron ship erupted in flames behind her. Isla curled into a small ball inside the pod, shaking. She had lost her friends. She had lost her protectors. She had lost everything she had begun to care about. She whispered softly to herself, "I will come back. I will save them. I promise." But she didn't know that the pod was drifting toward 10,000 years of sleep, and Earth was waiting for her return without knowing she had ever existed. The soldiers watching from the control room could hardly understand what they were seeing. The girl who once struggled to survive on a damaged alien ship was now standing at the center of a storm made of both energy and emotion. Every step she took caused the floor beneath her to light up with glowing blue paths, as if the entire ship itself was responding to her presence. But she did not look afraid. Her breathing was steady, her eyes were sharp, and her posture was calm, as if she had finally discovered the truth she had unknowingly carried within for years. Outside the chamber, the alien commander Varkesh felt a strange tension rising in the air. He had been a warrior for more than a century, had fought in hundreds of battles, but he had never seen anything like this girl. When she had first arrived, he believed she was simply another human survivor. But now he realized something greater. The ship recognized her in a way it recognized no other being. Like an ancient lock recognizing its rightful key. The lights dimmed. The sound inside the chamber shifted from a mechanical hum to something softer, almost like a heartbeat. The girl slowly raised her hand, and without touching it, the massive central core of the ship began to rotate. It projected thousands of thin lights that moved like strands of glowing strings, circling around her. Each strand carried memories, alien memories, battles, journeys, discoveries, and secrets that had been locked away for generations. The girl did not move away. Instead, she let the glowing strands brush against her skin. She felt none of the coldness she expected. Instead, she felt warmth, as if the ship was speaking to her, telling her that she was not alone. Images flashed inside her mind. The crash, the strange beacon that had awakened when she touched it, and the mysterious mark on her wrist that she had never understood. Varkesh watched from behind the chamber glass, his eyes narrowing. "The ship is choosing her," he whispered, almost in disbelief. For his people, this was more than rare, it was impossible. The ancient ships were living relics, choosing their bond only once in an entire lifeline. Yet here they were, witnessing the impossible. Inside, the girl finally spoke softly, as though responding to a voice only she could hear. "So that's why you saved me." Her words triggered a sudden shift. The glowing strings rose higher and formed a spiral above her head. The core stopped spinning and slowly descended until it hovered at her chest. The symbols on the girl's wrist began to shine brighter, pulsing in the exact rhythm as the ship's heartbeat. In that moment, she felt a wave of strength fill her body. Not just physical strength, but a strength born from connection, knowledge, and belonging. The guards backed away nervously. The energy in the air was so powerful it made the walls vibrate. Yet the girl stood perfectly still, her face calm, her eyes glowing with new confidence. She finally understood why the aliens had been afraid of her and why the ship had been trying so hard to protect her. She wasn't just another human. She was the chosen link between species, the one the ship had waited for, the one who could unlock the last secret hidden deep within its memory. And as the symbols around her kept glowing brighter, Varkesh realized something else. If the enemy ever learned what she truly was, they would stop at nothing to capture her. But now it was too late. The awakening had already begun. The moment the awakening began, the entire ship trembled as if something ancient had just taken its first breath after sleeping for centuries. Deep inside its metallic walls, old mechanisms unlocked one by one, releasing echoes that sounded almost like distant roars. Every alien officer stopped what they were doing and stared at the glowing chamber with fear and wonder mixed on their faces. The girl remained in the center, surrounded by spiraling lights that moved like living creatures. The warmth she felt earlier now grew stronger, flowing through her veins like liquid fire. It didn't burn her. Instead, It made her feel more alive than she had ever felt before. Her eyes glowed with a soft blue hue, and her heartbeat synchronized with the pulse of the ship, as if the two were now sharing a single rhythm. On the upper deck, Varkesh placed both hands on the railing, struggling to understand what he was witnessing. For a moment, he felt small, like a simple soldier standing before something far greater than war or politics. The girl was no longer just a survivor. She had become a living key, unlocking powers his people had forgotten long ago. Then the energy in the chamber shifted. The glowing strands stopped spinning and stretched outward, forming a massive ring of blue and silver light around the girl. The ring expanded until it filled the entire room, then collapsed inward, merging directly into her. The shockwave hit the walls so hard that several consoles flickered, and the lights across the ship dimmed for several seconds. When the light faded, the girl stood alone in silence. But she was different. Her hair lifted gently, as though floating in an unseen breeze. Her eyes held a depth that felt older than her own lifetime, and the mark on her wrist had spread into elegant, glowing lines running up her arm like ancient tattoos, waking up after years of sleep. Varkesh rushed into the chamber, ignoring the protocols, ignoring the guards shouting behind him. He approached her slowly, cautiously, like someone approaching a star that could either warm you or destroy you. "Can you hear me?" he asked. She blinked, her eyes returning to their normal color, and she nodded. "Yes, I can hear you. And I can hear the ship. It's talking to me." Her voice was steady, but something in it had changed. It carried a faint echo, a resonance that belonged to the ship itself. Varkesh stepped back, stunned. "The ship doesn't talk to anyone. It talks to me," she replied gently. "It showed me everything. Who built it, why it was hidden, and why it chose me." The guards exchanged glances, whispering nervously. Chosen? No human had ever been chosen by an ancient alien relic. It was something their legends warned about, a power too great, a destiny too heavy. The girl raised her hand, and to everyone's horror and awe, a small sphere of blue energy formed above her palm. It flickered like a tiny star, humming with quiet intensity. The air around it vibrated softly. She stared at it, mesmerized. "It's giving me control," she whispered. "Not to destroy, but to protect." Before Varkesh could say anything, the ship suddenly blared with a deep metallic alarm. The hall lights flashed red, and a holographic map appeared in front of them. Enemy signatures, dozens of them, approaching fast. The enemy had sensed the awakening. Varkesh's face hardened. "They're coming for you. They know what you've become." The girl closed her hand, making the small blue star vanish, and looked up at him with a calm determination far beyond her years. "Then let them come," she said softly. "I'm not running anymore." The ship responded instantly. Its engines roared, its armor shifted, and its systems glowed with new life, as if ready to fight alongside her. This wasn't just a ship. This wasn't just a girl. This was the beginning of a new legend, a human and an alien vessel bonded together, standing against an enemy that feared what they could become. And the galaxy was about to learn why. The enemy fleet appeared in the darkness of space like a swarm of burning red stars. Dozens of warships approached with sharp, aggressive formation, each one armed with weapons strong enough to tear planets apart. Their engines screamed across the void, shaking the old sensors of the alien ship. Inside the control hall, everyone froze. Even the experienced officers felt fear crawl through their armor. No one had ever seen the enemy move this fast, this united. It was clear. They wanted the girl, and they would destroy anyone who tried to protect her. The girl stood at the center of the hall, calm but alert. The glowing lines on her arms pulsed slowly, almost like gentle breathing.
She didn't panic.
She didn't cry. She simply closed her eyes and listened, not to the enemy, but to the ship itself. The ship's ancient voice echoed inside her mind like a whisper from another time. "Child of Earth, the danger is great. But you're not alone." When she opened her eyes again, something inside her had shifted. She looked at Varkesh, who was gripping the railing with trembling hands. He had led armies, defeated monsters, and survived wars, Yet he had never felt this helpless. She walked toward him, her steps steady. "You don't have to protect me," she said softly. "Let me protect you." Varkesh shook his head. "You are just—" "No," she interrupted gently. "I'm not just anything anymore." The lights around her shimmered as if supporting her words. Everyone nearby could feel the air change, turning alive with invisible power. The enemy fleet fired the first strike. A massive beam of red energy tore through space, heading straight toward the ship. Officers shouted. Shields activated. Consoles sparked with electricity. But it wasn't enough. The beam was too strong. Before the blast reached them, the girl stepped forward and lifted her hands. Blue light burst from her palms, forming a massive, transparent barrier outside the ship. The red beam struck it, sending ripples across the glowing surface like waves hitting a giant ocean wall. The barrier held. Every alien officer stared in pure shock. No human should have been able to do such a thing. No child, no soldier, no chosen one from their legends. But she did it with calm focus, like she had been training for this all her life. Varkesh whispered, his voice shaking. You blocked it." She didn't look back. Her eyes were fixed on the enemy ships. "They will attack again," she said quietly. "Stronger this time." And she was right. Across the battlefield, the enemy ships charged up their weapons. Thousands of red sparks filled the dark void, turning space into a storm of fire. This time, the attack was large enough to destroy a small moon. The entire alien crew braced themselves for the end. But the girl didn't wait. She thrust her hands outward, and the ship responded instantly. Ancient energy flowed through her body and into the hull, waking long-forgotten systems. The ship's metallic plates shifted, revealing symbols that glowed with bright silver light. The ship transformed. It wasn't just an old relic anymore. It had awakened into its true form, a form that hadn't been seen in 10,000 years. A deep hum vibrated through the walls, as if something powerful had opened its eyes for the first time in ages. The girl raised her voice, steady and brave. "I'm done hiding. I'm done running." She reached out her hand, and the ship shaped a massive beam of blue-white light, gathering energy from her very heartbeat. Varkesh realized what she was about to do. "This is dangerous," he warned. "If you push too hard." "I know," she said softly. "And you might." She looked at him for the first time since the battle began. Her eyes were soft, glowing gently. "I'm not afraid." Then she released the beam. Blue-white energy erupted from the ship with a roar like thunder. It cut across space in a perfect line, slicing through the enemy's attack, breaking it apart like shattered glass. The beam kept going, unstoppable, brilliant, hitting the front line of the enemy fleet. When the light faded, 20 enemy warships were gone, turned into silent dust. The alien officers stared at the girl with awe and fear mixed in their eyes. Some whispered legends, some prayed, some stood frozen. Varkesh could only whisper one sentence. "You are not just the ambassador. You are the weapon they feared." The girl lowered her glowing hands and breathed out slowly. "No," she said softly. "Not a weapon." She looked at the battlefield where enemy ships were regrouping for another attack. "I am the answer."